am so excited you're joining me today. This is part 1 in my back to school video series. We are going to dive into all things planning for the first week of school to make it the most amazing first week ever. And today is all about back to school books. Let's get started. Just as a reminder, if you haven't already, download your free copy of the first week of school planning guide. It has pages that go with each video that will really help you with creating your lesson plans at the end. It also has all of the resources and freebies that I talk about throughout the videos all in one spot. So don't miss that. Choosing read alouds for back to school is one of my favorite planning tasks. And it seems like every year there are more and more amazing books to choose from. So I try to narrow it down to 3 books each day that first week of school. Now, it can be a little pricey building up your back to school book collection. So I would suggest making a list of all of the books you are interested in and looking at your local library, your school library, and checking with your teacher friends to see what you can borrow before you go out and buy. You might want to buy 2 to 3 of your absolute favorites or ones that you can't get your hands on otherwise so that you can start to build your collection year after year. And finally, share your books with your students. To have them on display, let them get their hands on them. This is something that was always difficult for me the first couple of years. I had my teacher books, I had my student books, and they didn't mix. But sharing my books with my students has helped us to make those back to school books our favorites all year long. So it's a great idea to have a list of your books ready to go when you sit down to write your lesson plans so you can plug the books in where they will fit best. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in another video when it comes to putting together your first week lesson plans. I have created this list of back to school books. There are certainly many, many more to choose from, but this was just some of my favorites, and you can grab the free download in the description below. There is a link. So I've divided the book list into 3 categories, and the first one is the one I think that should be on the top of every teacher's priority list for the first week of school, and that is building classroom community. So these books are going to help with starting to build those connections between you and your students and their relationship with one another as well. And the first book I have here, or the book I'll be highlighting, is called The Day You Begin. It's perfect for back to school because it's about feeling different and a little bit insecure about how the little girl spent her summer when she's hearing everyone else's amazing summer vacations and she spent the summer at home. So I really like this book because it actually helped me make the shift in mindset from sharing about our summer vacations all week long, which I know some students are eager to do, but shift to focusing a little bit more on what we're like, how we're the same, how we're different. I used to have a free activity that was called Summer Vacation Puzzles. I've since changed that to be puzzles about me, which you can grab that freebie down below. So I think it's important that we all kind of shift our focus a little bit. It doesn't mean you have to tell your students not to talk about their summer, but we as the teachers, if we're not pushing students to share, because it might not necessarily be an enjoyable topic for some students to share about. So I love that it focuses on celebrating our differences and how our experiences really shape us. And those are some really important topics that you can focus on those first weeks of school for building classroom community. Next up is the topic of setting expectations. I love using books to talk about how we should be behaving in school, how our behavior impacts us, and how it affects those around us. So my number 1 favorite must-have book is What Should Danny Do? You've probably seen this book around. The authors, Gannett and Adair, are huge supporters of teachers, and they've written 3 What Should Danny Do books now, and this one is the school day one, but really all of them are fantastic. So this is a choose your own adventure type book where our main character Danny has to make choices throughout the day, and you as the reader get to make those choices. Now, if he makes a poor choice, then something negative happens. A good choice leads to something good happening. So it really helps our young learners realize how their choices have impact, how they can change their day. Not one bad choice is not going to make the whole day bad. They can change it around, and that things in life have logical consequences. So love, love, love this book. It is a favorite all year long, and it's perfect for the first week of school. Another favorite for discussing classroom expectations is Tony Baloney's School Rules. I love this book because Tony Baloney is a penguin who has a heart of gold and wants to do well, but he has trouble following the rules on the first day of school. So he makes some honest mistakes, kind of shows how we have that adjustment period to getting used to a new environment and the expectations of that environment. And he is actually a really sweet penguin who just loves to help others. So I love that we see his imperfections and kind of how he adjusts to being in school and getting to know the rules. Finally, the third category here is getting ready for learning. So these are some of my favorite books to introduce your content areas and just start thinking about learning and growing and how we're going to make mistakes along the way. It's going to feel hard sometimes, but we're going to persevere, and that is how we're going to make progress this school year. So one of my favorite books for introducing reading is How Rocket Learned to Read. It's great to see how Rocket learns in baby steps. It's not all at once. And I think our younger learners can really connect to Rocket as a character. My last one I'll be highlighting actually is called Mrs. Spitzer's Garden. And I saved the best for last because I just love this book. I read this at the beginning of the school year and at the end of the school year. It totally makes me tear up sometimes. It is all about Mrs. Spitzer, and her principal brings her a packet of seeds at the beginning of the school year, and how those seeds start to blossom and grow into flowers of all different shapes and sizes and colors. So it really shows how our students are going to bloom in all different ways this school year, and how your teacher isn't the one who does it all for you. Yes, she's there, she helps you, she provides you the nourishment and all the things you need, but it's really up to you as the student to work towards your goals and learn all year long. All right, so those were some of my favorite back to school books. Obviously, I can't go through all 15 or I'd be here talking all day. But a few things, if you've made it to the end, I'm so excited to be able to share with you. I am giving away a copy of Tony Baloney and of What Should Danny Do? So there's a link down below in the description to enter the giveaway for your copy of these books so you can start or continue to grow your back to school book collection. I also have included down below the link for the digital download of my 15 favorite back to school books for this year, and they are all linked to where you can purchase them, or you could put them on your Amazon wish list and send that out to friends and family to hopefully get some donations for your classroom. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to check out the Back to School Read Aloud page in your planning guide, where you can make a list of all the books that you want to collect to have ready for your first week of school, because that will come in handy when it's time to make those lesson plans. The next 3 videos in this series are going to cover the first 3 lessons when you're introducing reading, math, and writing. Then we will talk about getting to know you activities, which I think is the most fun part of the first week of school. And my last video will be all about putting it together into those lesson plans. We are going to plan the most amazing first week ever.